Let me try to do a summary of how I got involved with this prevention. And it's funny, just curious. This is health and science. Hope that's probably a mirror image. And in college, I think I was about 25 years old. No pressure to do, not medical, absolutely not. But I was curious about, of course, inducing nearsightedness, negative refractive state for my completely normal eyes as I see it. And kids do honestly dumb things, and parents don't know how to stop it, or they don't stop it. And so the article is why your most creative ideas may come after a night of sleep. Again, that's probably mirror image. And I had to respond to write a paper, sort of a senior thesis. And I was also working at a radio station at that time, and also in the Army. So I had the free time to think. And so I'm at WGMS until you monitor the dials and you have time. And so thinking about what I really like to do. And electrical engineering, it's control theory. So I was thinking that evolution must have designed a highly sophisticated system. No camera, no emmetropia, no hyperopia, no myopia, just refractive states. And so to connect it all together, I thought, well, the eye only has one signal available. It's the accommodation signal. Wouldn't the eye use the accommodation system to work properly? It makes perfectly logical sense from an engineering point of view, scientific. No one medical will ever think that way. It's not so much beyond their ability, but they know the ignorance of the public will not tolerate it, nor accept any solution from any medical person who thinks that way. So not only they don't think that way, but they know the public's so ignorant, they could not help them anyway. So in that sense, I give every optometrist a pass. They can't do anything. It's not their fault. Don't argue with them. It's a waste of your time. So that was my control theory thesis. It was Capital College at that time. Engineering, 4 years. And so I wrote my thesis up and posted it. And as I'm thinking about this, along appears the statement that submariners develop myopia based on time of submarines. And I realized by analysis, you couldn't reverse it. You have a control system such that once you become negative, it locks itself to negative because the accommodation system can't go positive once it's negative. So it's almost imperative that any prevention start before you start wearing a minus lens. My thesis again. And I thought about the submariners who did this. Previously 20/20 and slightly negative. Those are the ones who could understand and use a plus when they're in submarines. Whether they would or not didn't matter. The concept was there. So, as the health article says, the science of sleeping on it can dream engineering solve tough problems. I was not solving soft problems. I was dreaming of a better way of thinking of the completely normal eye starting at birth that had no connection to medicine and couldn't be used by medicine anyway. And so the eye then became a control system, all of them, with pretty positive refractive states. and not defective. So it seemed obvious, to put it frankly. I wrote it up partially and ultimately prepared a paper for publication. The very basic idea about 1980 Rensselaer, 1979 Rensselaer Polytechnic. So this is about 1967. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's what the eye is, a control system. And I just wondered if I could develop an equation that would reproduce the experimental data accurately. You know, curious. And since it occurred to me, I have no involvement with medicine, I thought, what, has anybody ever thought of this idea before? I mean, of course, control systems, completely neutral in terms of medicine. And if they did think about it, what did they do about it? What did they say? What did they speak about it? Or are they so dominated by a camera image, ametropia, hyperopia, myopia, that they can't think about it? Or does the public's ignorance so powerful they couldn't do anything about it anyway, if they wanted to do something or anything about it? Again, I give anyone medical a pass because that's the public. And you can't blame the optometrist who can't do anything about it anyway, even if they wanted to do something about it, only for their own children. And this was before they get a minus lens. Once you wear the minus lens, as far as it's concerned, the arguments, scientists, it's all over for you. So sleeping on it. So, and I was intensely curious. And I wrote to the guy who had published the Submariners tract. And he wrote back, and of course, that was when I found Rafelson. And halfway you feel that the plus is fraudulent because it doesn't produce any results. It was obvious to me that it couldn't, only if used before you started wearing a minus lens. So that's what got me to Rafelson's home. It was wonderful. Then I realized the situation was hopeless because the ignorance of the public make it hopeless. So that became then an issue of, when I walked out of Rafelson's house, I said, why bother? Why bother? Can't do anything about it. Ignorance of the public is so powerful that nobody can do anything about it. So I sort of became an idealist and thinking that at least I could publish the science of all eyes and get rebuffed by the entire medical community and the ignorance of the public too, just to make it final. So that was my conclusion with Rafelson. He tried to use the plus, but the ignorance of the public is so powerful, he couldn't do anything about it except with his own children. And his children reading 20 inches wear a plus for close work. And that works, but it's only prevention. It's not recovery. So my draftees in doing this were my sister children. And of course, if you've never been nearsighted, you think, oh, that's medical, they'll take care of it. And of course, they take care of it by putting you a strong minus lens and it wipes you out. So that is what engineering thinking is all about. I don't make money doing this. Todd Becker doesn't make money doing it. He's curious. I don't think you realize how much plus lens is really required if you want to really get out of it. I should probably do a statement about getting out of 2040. But it'd be pure engineering, and the person would make the measurements himself. If you gave test lenses to an ignorant person, with all due respect, they would pull up minus lenses and get overprescribed themselves by 1 or 2 doctors until it makes it incredibly sharp. Of course, that would kill them. An engineer, you could explain to them, no, if you're 20/60, you want about a half diopter to get you 20/40, and a 1 diopter to prove that you don't have a medical problem. But that doesn't get you out of it. The only way you get out of it is the way I did it. Plus lens, reading at 20 inches. If I read it 10 inches, that's minus 4 diopters. Put a plus 4 diopter on it. It's very logical, very linear. The eye becomes non-linear as soon as it's negative. When the refraction is positive, it is quite linear, and it goes in both directions. But that's only true when the eye is positive. So that got me to the primate data. But people in medicine just say the public doesn't want prevention. And that ends all possibility of any prevention for anyone at any time in the future. So if you think I'm wrong about this, say so, speak up. But I think I must make the measurements myself, as you see me doing it with spherical lenses. No cylinder, really don't need it. And I do all measurements myself, as I've done for the past 15 years. So if you think there's danger in wearing a plus to keep your 20/20, well, I'm your guinea pig because I'm doing it. Again, I had great ideas in college, great medical people. It's their ignorance of science itself. And their defense is the public's so vastly ignorant, they can't do anything about it. The only person who has the insight is, of course, Rupa Wong. And she starts prevention when they all have 20/20, which is the only right way to do it. So add your own commentary. I certainly enjoy friendships and arguing about it and systematically thinking. If you design control systems, you will understand it. And if you look at the correlation of the equation for all eyes and the actual data, the correlation to that equation is about 0.97. It's perfect. But you got to be thinking control systems in order to understand the data, the whole concept. Don't understand the concept, you're not going to make it. And this is only prevention. Add your own commentary, and thank you.